Welcome back to another edition of our Laoso Awaonga program. Greetings to all our senior students who are watching our English lesson for today. Talofa lava. Today's lesson is on Strand 2, which is Reading and Writing. Reading and Writing. The substrand that we are going to focus this lesson on, Expository Writing. By the end of today's lesson, I hope you will be able to learn the following specific learning outcomes. Describe what an expository essay writing is. Identify the different types of expository essays. Describe how an expository essay is structured. And write an expository essay introduction. But before we do our warm-up activity, let me first of all remind you what facts and opinions are. A fact is determined as something that truly exists or happens. A true piece of information or information that can be proven true or false. An opinion is defined as a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. You cannot change a fact, but you can change an opinion. Knowing the difference between facts and opinions helps readers make sense of information and improves your reading and writing skills. Alright, now look at the screen. I have listed 10 statements. I want you to identify which statements are facts and which are opinions. I will give you 1 minute to read through. Then we will go through our list of statements together. Alright, let's read through. Number 1. Reading should be prioritized in early child education. Try and see whether it is a fact or an opinion. Number 2. It has been raining for a while now. Number 3. I think it is going to rain soon. Number 4. Oil can be made from coconut flesh. Number 5. Samoa's biggest island is Savaii. Number 6. Savaii is so much better than Upolu. Number 7. Reading can improve your vocabulary. Number 8. You must pass English to enter university. Number 9. English is the most important subject in school. Number 10. Oil from the coconut flesh is usually expensive. Now look at the table of answers and see if you got them right. On the left we have our facts. On the right we have our opinions. I know you are probably thinking, what does facts and opinions have to do with our substrand, expository writing? Well, it is important that you are able to determine between the two before we write our expository essay. Now, what is an expository essay? What is an expository essay? An expository essay is one which is used to explain something in the most simple terms. The word expository comes from the word expose, and this means to uncover facts about something so that other people are able to understand it for what it is. This type of essay is therefore used as a way of explaining or clarifying the subject for the reader. So basically, an expository essay is a type of essay that discusses facts. Its main purpose is to inform and educate the readers on a specific topic. In the previous years, you focused on different types of formal writings, including the expressing opinions essay. Now, what is the difference between the expressing opinions essay and the expository essay? They seem very much alike. Well, it is important that you can distinguish between the two. Therefore, let me tell you the main differences between these two essays. An expressing opinions essay focuses on personal opinions. It also focuses on one side of the argument. This means if you are for the topic, then you agree throughout the entire essay. Likewise, when you disagree. Whereas an expository writing focuses on presenting facts, not opinions, and you may choose a position whether you agree or disagree. You may also acknowledge the opposite point of view where necessary. Please note that not all topics require you to choose a position. Now that we know what an expository writing is, I want you to know that there are many types of expository writing essays. But for today's lesson, I am going to describe 4 of the most commonly used types of expository essays. These are the cause and effect, problem and solution, the descriptive, and compare and contrast expository essays. The first one, cause and effect. The cause and effect type of essay is sometimes also known as the reason and result essay, or the action and consequence essay. It basically talks about details of reasons for an issue or event, and then later discusses its effects or consequences. This type of essay is meant to explain and analyze why something happened or how something occurred. Examples of topics for cause and effect expository essay are: drinking soda is bad for your health. How globalization affects the economy. Now, the second type of essay is the problem and solution type of expository essay. It is similar to cause and effects expository essay. It poses a problem, then discusses possible solutions. Examples of topics for this type of essay are: number 1, Samoa has encountered more drug-related crimes recently. The second one is, cyberbullying is on the rise. What can we do? Our third type of essay is the descriptive expository essay. This type of essay requires the writer to describe an object, person, place, experience, emotion, or situation in their own words. It is written from the writer's perspective, but it does not mean you are expressing your opinions or writing a story or narrative. A descriptive writing is not a personal writing. Example of topics for this type of essay are: the possible consequences of poor performances in school. Describe the stages of writing a thesis. Now, our last type of essay is the compare and contrast. This type of essay is true to its name. It compares two subjects so you can identify the similarities, and contrasts so you can identify the differences. Examples of topics for this type of essays are: getting a college degree or getting a job. Our second example is extracurricular activities versus academics. Now we are going to do a quick activity to test your knowledge of our 4 types of expository essays. There are 8 topics shown on your screen. Please classify them under the 4 types of expository essays discussed. Remember, our 4 types of expository essays are the cause and effect essay, problem and solution essay, descriptive essay, and the compare and contrast essay. I'll give you 1 more minute to read through. let's look at the correct answers. Number 4 and 5 are topics for cause and effect essays. Number 6 and 8 for problem and solution. Number 2 and 3 for descriptive writing. And number 1 and 7 for compare and contrast. So how did you do with our activity? Well, I hope you understand the importance of this activity. You need to know which type of expository essay you are writing to help you structure your essay better. Now let's take a quick recap on steps in writing an essay. I understand you are in senior level and you may already know this, but this is just to refresh your memory. The following are steps in writing any type of essay, including the expository essay. The first step is choose or select a topic. Now, choosing a topic is important. You need to know and understand the topic that you choose. You need to be interested in your topic, because the more interested you are in the topic, the easier it is for you to write about it. Second step is planning. Try and plot down your main points of discussion that you will be talking about in your essay. Your points should reflect your position of being for or against the topic. Also, plot down examples to support your argument. You can brainstorm in whatever way you want to, as long as you plot down what you will be covering in your essay. Third step is to draft your essay. Now, when you are done with planning, this is the time to start writing your draft. Remember to keep referring back to your plan. The last step is to proofread and edit. When you finish your first draft of your essay, make sure you read through it again and again to check for grammatical errors, spelling errors, or for any mistakes made during your writing. Now you can repeat step 3 and 4 as many times as needed until you finalize your writing. I hope that has refreshed your memory and understanding of the steps needed in your writing. Now we will move on to answer our next question, which is, how is an expository essay structured? Here's how we are going to structure our expository essay. We are going to use what we call the 5-paragraphing structure. This structure is commonly used for formal essay writings. The first step is your introduction. This is your opening paragraph. It introduces the main idea of your essay, captures the reader's interest, and tells you why your topic is important. Our second paragraph is your first point of argument or discussion. This paragraph usually discusses your strongest argument. The third paragraph is the second point of your argument or discussion. The second paragraph of the body should contain a discussion of your second strongest argument or an obvious follow-up of the first paragraph. The third paragraph of the body should contain your counter-argument. A counter-argument is expressing on the opposite point of view. The purpose for this is to tell your readers that you are considerate of other people's views and that you have looked at the topic from multiple angles. Please note that you do not need a counter-argument if you are writing a descriptive type of expository essay. Now, the last paragraph of our essay is the conclusion. The conclusion is the last paragraph of your essay where you take 2 for this one, sorry. Now, the conclusion is the last paragraph of your essay where you reaffirm your arguments made in the body of your essay. In other words, this is where you summarize or wrap up your points. Now, before we move on to the last part of our lesson, I want to ask, what is a paragraph? Do we all know what a paragraph is? Well, if you still don't know, a paragraph is defined as a distinct section of a writing. It is a series of sentences put together in coherence and focuses on one main idea or theme. So how long should a paragraph be? Well, a paragraph can be as long or as short as it can be. You can have a paragraph ranging from 3 to 5 sentences or 10 or more sentences. Now let's go back to our 5-paragraph structure, because for today's lesson, we will be learning how to write the first paragraph, which is the introduction. Now there are so many different methods in writing an introduction, but first thing we need to do is choose a topic. Now I am going to choose a topic that is interesting. The topic is social media has a huge impact on youth today. Social media has a huge impact on youth today. Now we need to think about our topic and decide whether we agree or disagree. Remember, if you choose to agree or disagree, it does not necessarily mean you are right and the others are wrong. Now let's say that I agree with our topic. So we start our planning and plot down our main points. Point 2, exposed to violence or inappropriate content. And the last point is awareness of social issues or current events. Note that I've also put down examples for the other 2 points. Now that we have our 3 points ready, what is the next step? How are we going to start our introduction? Getting started with our introduction is probably the hardest part of writing an essay. But like I mentioned before, there are so many methods that you can use to start off your introduction. You can use an interesting fact or statistics, a famous quote or an allusion. You can use a rhetoric question, a background information on your topic, or you can even use an anecdote. Now, like I said before, these are just examples of methods of introduction. You don't have to use all of these methods. You can choose 1 or 2. The second step is paraphrasing the topic. You need to reword your topic. Try not to change the meaning of the topic in the process. The third step is to define the main concept. You need to identify the main concept from the topic and define its meaning. Do not assume all your readers understand your topic. Reason for interest is on step number 4. This part of your introduction can be implied. Your introduction should indicate why you are interested in the topic. Number 5 is state your position. You need to be clear in your introduction whether you are for or against the topic. And our last step is introducing our points. Briefly state your points of discussion, but try not to say too much about it. Now, I want you to choose one of the following topics and think about the steps. Don't forget, you need to first of all plot down your main points before you start writing your own introduction using steps that we have just discussed. While you do that, I will also write an introduction for our chosen topic. Enjoy writing your introduction. Are you done? Great. I am too. Now, we are going to look at my sample introduction and identify if I have all the steps that we have talked about. You should too with your introduction, or you can give it to your teacher to help you identify what is missing from your introduction. Here's my introduction for our topic. Social media has a huge impact on youth today. Every day, we hear our youth talk about Facebook posts, Facebook stories, Instagram photos, TikTok and YouTube videos, and more. Most times it is about how bad or good a post was and how many people reacted, commented, or shared the post. Youth today have been greatly affected by social media. One may ask, what is social media? Social media is defined as websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. The effects of youth through social media have been concerning in the past few years. Therefore, I agree with the selected topic. This essay will elaborate on social media not only being a major distraction to youth, but also a way of exposure to violence and inappropriate content. It will also touch on some positive effects of social media, which includes awareness of what is happening every day. Now let us look at it again and identify the parts of our introduction as discussed. The first part is the method of introduction. The method I used was using an interesting fact to begin my introduction. The second part, in yellow, is paraphrasing my topic. The third part, highlighted there in green, is defining the main concept. The fourth part in blue is the reason for interest. The fifth part in gray is stating the position. And the last part in red is introducing the points. So how did you do with your introduction? What topic did you choose? What type of expository essay writing was it? Did you find it much easier writing your introduction following the steps? Which method of introduction did you use? Excellent, everyone. I'm sure you all did great. Please keep practicing because the more you practice, the easier it gets for you. I hope you have learned what an expository writing is, the types of expository writings, the steps in structuring an expository writing, and how to write an expository essay introduction. We have come to the end of our lesson for today, class. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for our next lesson, where we will focus on the body and conclusion of our expository essay. But until then, tofa sai